I've been struggling with how to piece today together. Because, well, you see, today isn't like any other episode on the Autocraft server with me, Tomby92. No, today is the end. And I don't just mean the end of the server, it's the end of my time with Autocraft. Now, let's carry on with our heads here and try and finish something off before we go off in any sort of emotional direction. But you see, today is probably my final time on the server. You see, this season has been a challenge. Everything behind me, yeah, it's been hard. And as life evolves and things change, I just haven't been able to make the content that I've wanted to here on Autocraft. Now, that is through absolutely nobody's fault. Things just get busy, life becomes more tricky, and, well, time zones become harder to navigate, and that's basically what it's become. I'm here in the UK. Most of our members here on Autocraft are in the US, and to be honest, I haven't seen anyone. And that's been hard. Without you guys providing the feedback, without the members providing feedback on this city, I'm not sure we would have made it this far through the season, in all honesty. It has been the commitment to the build. And, well, after the stadium was built, it kind of felt like it was all over, because this was how my whole city begun. This was my idea of how to begin the city. This build was put together in creative, like, the end of last season. Like, I had this all planned out, ready to go. Now, I'm incredibly proud of what we've built here behind me. It's been a fantastic achievement. And without a lot of members on this server, it wouldn't have happened. And from the feedback, from the material gathering, it just would not have happened. Now, life's too short to contemplate the what ifs, because believe me, there are a lot of what ifs. I mean, there's a lot of space here. I could have and should have been filling, but we haven't. And things just haven't worked out. But before we get into a bit of a soppy monologue about my appreciation and enjoyment of all the Autocraft members, let's take a tour of this world and see some of the great sights. Now, we may as well begin at the top here, at the top of our city. This was the first build that we did for our city, and, well, it didn't really go as I'd hoped. Again, because of the time zones, because we've not really been able to make that same content that we wanted. It's just been here in the middle. Now, I say it's just been here in the middle. The inside of this build has been my heart and soul of this season, because, well, it's got music, and I like music, but also that it has my storage system, from the shulker unloader to the item sorter to the multi-item sorter, which became my most popular episode of the Autocraft season. And, well, I spent a lot of time here in this room waiting for all my items to sort through. So we also spent a lot of time around here just playing around with bits and bobs. This is kind of the only area that we've done an interior. We put in a jukebox, and if we head down in FreeCam, we've got down here. We'll play that towards the end of the episode. If you haven't already heard that, make sure to stay to the end to hear what the jukebox does. But, we even went out and did map art. That seems so long ago. We did Arctic Monkeys, Do I Want to Know? We did the Cortinas, St. Jude, all out in the ocean and making map art, which I don't know whether we sold. I think we sold a couple of copies, but, like this was a really cool little setup. Unfortunately, it didn't become what I wanted it to be, with kind of the upstairs. If we go all the way up here through the water chute, we'll end up in the pool on top of the roof. I can't believe how far away it is. It's been so long. But the original intention was for up here to be like a memorabilia place, and I was even going to do maps. You can see how old this map is. We flattened this area out, and we've just got this build there. But, up here we've got loads of space that we were going to fill out. I even put in a portal frame, because we were going to move the portal from all the way out there. It just never happened, because, well, the city grew, and the city grew a lot quicker than I thought it ever was going to, and some of it was impromptu. This whole area here, I had no plans for. It just happened because one week when I should have been recording an episode, I was ill. So I just did more building. We had Onky come down with Betty's golden goodies and fill this area up. And then we've got this set of buildings, and these are some of my favorite because we've played around with some colors, we've played around with different window shapes. That's the one thing that we've done this series. Like, I'm not going to wow you this season with my color palettes because it's been about size, it's been about being grand, it's been about being traversable on land and in the air and still looking really, really cool. And, there's no block palette changes. We played around with some glass colours to make it look a bit different. But really, it's blocks, it's windows, it's shapes. And then we played around with some trees. So these trees here, we've got the azalea leaves towards the bottom. Around the corner, just there on the bend, we get the azalea towards the top. So we played around with how sun may impact it because the sun actually goes across here, across this main road on the end here, which is really cool. One of the things that I never really thought I'd be doing is, figuring out how a tree should light up. And yeah, we did. I mean, this whole park area, this took some inspiration from Corrales in Hermitcraft, and we've played around with this. And then these builds over here, we basically had one design, and I didn't really have a purpose for it. But then we just changed it up a few times. We've changed around the design. I had some fun here with kind of how to make it look different in each of these gardens. And, we've tried with like moss trees, we've got ferns, we've got shading, we've got, azalea, flowering azalea leaves. This is probably the only place we did it. We use scaffolding in the windows. It's a nice little cool little feature. Now, if you get the world download, I'd encourage every one of you to try and walk this area on foot because I'm playing with Bobby and I've got used to how big this place is and I fly a lot of it. And I'd encourage you all to, appreciate how big this place is by traversing on foot, playing without Bobby, and yeah, just really seeing how big this place is. Now, heading around here, this was one of our builds we did not that long ago. And this was kind of like apartment style with shops on the bottom. We put in this gazebo, which is the only place really. I think this episode was the only episode that I played around with some color palettes. And then C-Dubs came in and stuck in these magnificent trees. And I didn't realize until after the episode. I think I said C-Dubs did a really good job and tried playing around with buttons. And I was trying to figure out, what are these buttons for? It turns out it's because they needed spawn proofing, and Dakota might let me know about that. And I am going to sleep and then we'll carry on this tour. Freshly awakened, let's carry on the tour. Now, following the pathways, also, let's not forget, there is a massive road system to this city. And, we've tried to put in detail where we can. This area I really enjoyed, but this build was probably the most damaging build of this whole season. Now, that sounds a strange description, right? But just have a look how big it is, how much land this covers, how many levels there are. And remember, I'm playing with Bobby. This thing is huge. And now this is probably where we first get in to a bit of emotion, because this build, it wouldn't have happened without two of the members. I'll tell you that. I took a step away from the server around October time because I started a new job and I just didn't know what I could commit to the server. And it turns out for a little while I didn't really miss Minecraft. And then I came back and started on this massive project. And not only did we build this, we had to terraform the whole area that was here. Now, another thing to not forget, this whole area was a dark forest. I don't think there's any remnants. Look how deep and compact all this is. We had to tear it all out everywhere around here. And we did that through lots of TNT. We did that through lots of chopping. But Deep Slate was my enemy for this build. So a massive, massive, massive thank you to Rusty and Alpen, who I can't tell you how grateful I was for them during this build. I was at my wit's end. I had enough of mining Deep Slate and I just wanted it all to be over. And a number of times they just came and dropped me multiple shulkers of Deep Slate so quickly. So, a huge thank you to them. That just goes to show some of the great things about this Autocraft community that I'm really going to miss: the collaboration, the people who want to make you do better. It's the one thing that I'm probably going to end up saying about a lot of these members of this community, is that everyone wants the best for one another, and it's such a cool environment that I'm going to miss. But yeah, Rusty and Albert, a massive thank you, because this build wouldn't have happened with you guys, without you guys. Now, if we carry on heading down, we had plans here to change this out. And I'd said at the start of the episode, once the stadium was built, it kind of felt done. But, I had plans that out here we were going to have a big kind of shopping area. So we've got the car park, we've got the football stadium. We were going to have a few shops like bars and little clubs and stuff. And the idea was I was going to break out the back of this, and we'd have stairs coming down. We'd, redesign this, and it was going to be really cool. It was going to be dynamic as the city grew. It was going to change. It didn't happen. And, that's just kind of the story of this season. Aside from the great things we did, I feel like I had so many more designs, but this was the baby of the season. This was what has made me so happy about getting everything complete, is this football stadium with lots of inspiration from grounds around the UK. This end, Tottenham, yeah, you got the arch, yeah, we got the glass. It makes sense. Now, around here, this could be pretty much any modern day stadium in today's world, because they're all pretty much the same. But this was a blast. This was so fun. Like, combining my passions this season have been fantastic, from football to music, as we've shown in the big bass. It's what this season has been about, and it needed it, because the same, like, we've not seen anyone, and that's a shame. And I'm sorry to you guys of Autocraft for not being able to make the content, not being around for collaborations that I'd really hoped to. But going forwards, we'll still be around. We'll still be on YouTube. We've got other seasons already up and running, but Autocraft will be no longer. Now, that's it for the city. Shall we do some emotional monologuing? So let's start with the original server owner, Rusty. Now, Rusty and I, we may have butted heads in the past. We don't talk about wood. We don't talk about that wood shop. But I want to thank you, Rusty, for creating such a wonderful community. I mentioned it just a moment ago about the great members of this server, and without you, those things wouldn't happen without your efforts for this server. Everyone's wonderful builds, everyone's wonderful YouTube videos, streams, it wouldn't have happened. You've kept people honest, whilst always respecting everyone's opinions and allowing for conversations to happen. I felt I've been one to push the boundaries, and I'm sure, you might find others have thought that too, but your desire to encourage everyone's voice to be heard is an incredible trait. I hope that you can carry that beyond YouTube. You keep doing what you're doing, and I can't wait to see where Autocraft goes in the future. Then we have the other server owner of the season. We have Alpen, and I've already expressed some thanks to Alpen for the car park build, but what can you say about Alpen other than that she's just a kind and caring soul? I've loved seeing and working with Alpen in my time of Autocraft. Her caring nature is something that you don't see a lot on the internet, and it's really cool. She's been one of the most encouraging individuals that I've been part of a community with, has always pushed everyone to be better, and always puts feedback to everything from thumbnails that we send around to YouTube content in itself. And her desire to see the others continue to grow and better themselves, that's a trait that I want to take away. And yeah, that's Alpen. Then we have Dune. Now, in the little time that I was around Starter Town, I had some good fun with Dune this season, and he'd always come in riding on his horse, thinking I was going to kill him. He obviously hadn't seen much of my content to know that I'm really bad at PvP, but another lovely member of this Autocraft community. And Mr. Crink. So Crink and I joined Autocraft at a very similar time in the last season. We ended up, putting our builds next to one another in Starter Town, and I've really enjoyed seeing Crink's progression. His builds, his editing in his YouTube videos have grown massively, and I love seeing the hard work starting to come out in rewards for him. His season this season with Autocraft, his views have been phenomenal, and that's all down to his hard work. And then we have Unky. So, true story. I killed Unky's cows, and I'm pretty sure he's not forgiven me from last season. It turns out when you read text over Discord, there can be a very different context. And I just thought things were cool, and just thought he was joking around, but nope. One night in last season, I was having a bit of fun with Old Mannered Miner. Yep, the clay order leader, and well, we got a bit heavy-handed in Hunky's base, and it was a bloodbath of leather and beef everywhere. Now, I've really enjoyed being on server with Unky, although we've rarely seen each other this season. He's never been afraid to try new things with his lore telling and his editing and animation, and being a voice that isn't afraid to give opinions. Then we have Mr. LazyCon Gaming, the mad villain. Now, I love Lazy's ability to try new things. You know, from this season where he made the game where you had to get in to the end, or building in a bastion. He's been so comfortable in trying something new, and Lazy's become the movie man of Autocraft and has made Wednesday nights, well, at least for the Americans, something that has really helped grow the community with Gartic Phone and movies. So remember, if you're not already part of the Autocraft Discord community, go and join that. Go and take part in those Wednesday nights and feel a part of a great community. We have Professor Sherbet. Now, I don't think I've seen Sherb this season, maybe other than the opening weekend, which is, highlights one of those reasons for me moving away from Autocraft. Now, I love Sherb's humour, and I enjoyed dropping in on him last season, as he was also next to me in Starter Town, and nothing seems to stop Sherb's humour and his love of making content regardless of what life throws at him, which has been so cool to see. Dakota May, now in the short time I've been around TAC, I found her energy and enthusiasm infectious. Her support for every one of the members regularly dropping in on my streams. I'm in the UK, I don't know what time that is for her, but she's always been in my streams, always commenting on YouTube videos, and it's those kind of things that really make you feel part of a community. I mean, her builds have been an inspiration because quite literally her starter base led me to wanting to build the fountain in my city. C-Dubs looks out for everyone, and I've enjoyed seeing the influence and influences that C-Dubs has brought to Autocraft. Another member who is enthusiastic and encourages each and every member, provides constructional feedback, and C-Dub streams are always a fun place to be, and if you're not already following him over on Twitch, make sure to do so. And Calvin, I mean, his builds say everything. He was my rival last season with Mud Society and Clay Order storyline, but what a lovely guy. I've not managed to spend nearly as much time talking to Calvin this season as I'd love to, but his builds still wow me. His ability of combining blocks is second to none, and I've always loved his way of approaching storytelling, and I'm sure I'm going to have to go and find his sniffer one day. That's enough of the warm, fuzzy stuff. We're in a place that we spent a lot of time this season, and when I say a lot of time, many days of AFKing around this area with our pumpkin farm here. We never even automated sugarcane in the end. We had the villager breeder, we had the villager trading hall, which saved a lot of effort. These guys, they made me a lot of quartz and glass and glowstone for that stadium build. We had the gunpowder farm up in here. We had the bamboo farm. We had the absolutely massive, look, it's still even loading in, the massive iron farm. Now, this, whilst it funded my shop, this had big plans. Because you see, I was going to make a big railway line. It all made sense. And my whole industrial zone was geared towards my builds. And I just never got around to it. But I've burnt and chucked away and deleted so much iron because, yeah, you can see how efficient it is. They're churning up. We had the concrete maker, which I know Lazy came by and used some of. We got the cactus farm, which we expanded. Oh, we did automate sugarcane See, it's been that long that I forgot that we did that. We had the setup in the middle here to collect things. We had our wool farm, which became very successful for us, helped us with a number of our builds, especially the black wool. We had all these cows up for the challenges that we did in the last episode. Now, I was actually going to do a whole lot of new challenges. Look, I even pulled them all out of what I was going to do for another challenge episode. But as we said, like when the stadium was built, we just didn't get around to it. I was really hoping to climb up some of the leaderboards there and yeah, get higher up. And of course, we can't forget where it all began, here in Startertown, which has finished off looking absolutely fantastic. And we obviously had our build here, which, I mean, we didn't stay around for very long because we wanted to get cracking on the city. But, you know, we had a nice little modern build that I'd done. Huh? Oh. Oh, that's a bit late for that. Just shake up. Maybe if we play with one another on another server, I'll have to claim that that voucher. Yeah, that was an unexpected surprise of the tour. We had this little vehicle which became our iron store for a while until we moved it all into the shopping district. We had a couple of builds. We had the raid farm, which was providing us tons and tons of emeralds and totems, and this was probably my most successful shop ever on an SMP. I wonder if there's any still for sale. You see, people I mean, I did just tell people they could take them for any projects they had, but yeah, you know, that became really successful. Then in a not too far away episode, we did that beautiful build up at the top there. This was probably the only build we did with a pallet this season, and I had so much fun piecing that together, and that's our iron store up there. And that is going to conclude our goodbye tour. I want to thank you all for making it this far. I want to thank you for all your support throughout the whole of this series. It hasn't gone amiss. It's been so appreciated. Every comment, every like, every view has kept me going this season. So if you do manage to find your way in to our build, I'm going to leave behind my gear, and I hope you can make the most of it. We've left behind some goodies, and with that, I've nothing left. Yeah, it's a strange feeling. Now, as you head through this portal, you never know. Things might be different on the other side. See you all another time. Bye bye.